Senator Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Chavez-DeRemer, we served together in the House and worked together on the House Education and Workforce Committee, where you were a leader. You worked on many of the very issues that you are testifying about today. You are enormously qualified for this position, and I'm proud to support you. But can you explain to us for a moment what it means to you to put American workers first in this golden age of America's economy?
Thank you, Senator. Well, it's important to me, as was mentioned, the American worker. But we have to make sure that the American worker is being fortified with not only the skills that they need in order to answer the call, but people are looking for the American dream. People are wanting to have the skills to work in whatever they determine that to be. Again, we're seeing it's not the four-year university always, it's the two-year, it's the certificate base, it's answering the call so they can have mortgage-paying jobs for their families and understand that we're going to protect their benefits and their rights and safety in the workplace. The Department of Labor is sole focus is to make sure that we are protecting the wage earner, that we are helping the job seekers who are out there looking and really reinvigorating the job seekers who have decided that they don't want to look any further, and then protecting those retirees. As member of Education and Workforce and working together. Workforce investment, workforce development, I think is going to be key for all of our respective states. This shouldn't be a party issue. I've said this over and over again. That's why I've always worked across the aisle, because the American worker, we don't know what their party is, but we know that it matters to them to protect their families. I know how important my family's jobs were for us growing up, and I know how important it was for my husband and I to build that business for our children and soon-to-be grandchild. So I look forward to continuing down that road and always keeping that American worker at the pinnacle. And President Trump has said the same thing, and we align on this issue. The American worker, this new coalition, this new direction is where we're headed in this country.
Very, very well put. I know you know this. Indiana is the top manufacturing state in the country, yet the China shock wiped out 5 million manufacturing jobs in this country, and yet the federal government programs that were built to help those people who lost their jobs, way too many of them were left behind and didn't get a job as good as the manufacturing job that they had before because of the efforts of China to wipe out so many of those jobs in our country. How can we better serve those people? How do we get those people back on their feet and help them find meaningful, good-paying jobs like the one that they had before that was taken away by our biggest enemy, China?
That's right. Well, again, it's that workforce investment, that workforce development. Oftentimes, as a former mayor, if we don't go out and talk to the business community, if we don't go out and talk to those employers about what they're seeking and how they can find those jobs, we have to make sure that we are the leaders in this nation and in the world, not China and not any other country. President Trump, the golden age that you mentioned, this has been first and foremost the America First agenda and workforce development and protecting the American worker and have them the ability to earn those wages and live the American dream is number one in the America First agenda. That to me is telling why this coalition, this new direction of bringing labor and business and support is to uplift all Americans. And this is first and foremost on the president's mind.
Back in November, when President Biden was still in office, his Labor Department reported a 31% increase over the last 5 years of illegal child labor in America, a direct result of open borders. And I wonder, have you thought about what the Labor Department or President Trump and your leadership can do to save those kids who are in our country being illegally exploited for work in America?
Well, I have not had a conversation specific to that topic, but I know how important it is to protect well, first of all, children who have no fault of their own are being exploited. We never want to exploit our children. Again, as I mentioned, it's abhorrent that we would ever in this country choose to do so. So we will make sure that our workers are safe, we will make sure that our children are safe, and that we will make sure that we are heading in the right direction to protect our businesses and protect our workers and never exploit our children. And we'll double down at the Department of Labor if there's any bad actors doing so.
The Labor Department is responsible for combating human trafficking
That's
and
right.
forced labor under the Fair Labor Standards Act, and the Biden administration completely ignored these kids that came into that were brought here illegally and being exploited. And I know that's something that you'll take very seriously and work on. I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator.
I yield back.